You want me to look at it for you?
Would you? Yeah, would you
Hi.
please?
I found this today. You had asked me to get the mayor's signature back in December, and I did. I just didn't get it back to you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry I'm late.
No problem.
I figured it was just to go in a file.
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you much. What's up?
I need your signature, darling.
Hold on.
How you doing, buddy?
Ain't costing
This
me money,
amendment to the ordinance on the salary thing, there and there. You signed it all, but
Does it cost me money?
no,
Good.
no.
Hello.
It's just a technicality there. Leslie's gonna, that one, there was two of them. Okay, this one. Leslie's gonna, record this one on the boundary thing, where we were correcting the boundary. Okay.
She have to go over it again. I went to sleep.
Hey, you know, whatever. You guys
Tom,
need
I
to
hear
sit
you've been out of
there.
town.
It's Board of Works is really what it is.
Tom, you been out of town?
Can I get a paper?
A paper.
Selling chips?
Oh, sure, hon. I don't know. Ask Mike. Yeah.
Hey, what
I
about
know
that one?
there's extras up there.
Over
and
that
I got a
Carnival
couple.
Tuesday,
Oh,
sell
okay.
that?
Oh. And
Probably buy it pretty cheap right now.
Doug, the resolution on emergency medical services, you didn't sign it the other night. It got down that way, but it never got up our way. So, we need you to sit out there, please. Oh, he needs to sign it too. Mike, that's okay, the resolution on EMS services with the county, it got to that end of the group the other night, but not on our end.
And Doug, you passed the amendment to the salary ordinance, right?
Yeah,
You just need to initial, I think.
wait a minute, let me see here. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, you signed it, you didn't hear, you want a pen? I'll give you mine.
Engineering
There you
estimates
go.
or anything on that project?
I saw that the other day when I was doing minutes and stuff, and I thought, I'll have to get them to sign it.
There you go.
Oh, shoot.
Bill can't make it. He's,
He went to
Greensburg or somewhere.
in
Or Columbus.
Greensburg or Columbus or somewhere on it for
Ball game.
Destination Imagination. His son's in it.
Oh, that one was?
Yeah, that's what he told me the other day when I saw him.
I don't like that thing.
I said, okay, whatever. He said depending upon when they were gonna leave as to whether he could make it or not. And,
Called me sick and,
okay. I said, well, let us know, please. So as long as he
Is this on?
thank you, dear. I'll take that too, thanks. As long as he let you know, that's good.
That thing's in great shape,
Okay.
buddy. Oversized can.
How come Mario's sitting over there?
he won't be with us.
Let's see.
That's right, you're on Board of Works, Bubba.
I'm going up. I'm just,
He's
hey,
just looking around.
it's getting on me.
He's just looking around.
I think it'll pass it soon.
Oh, okay, I was on another subject, I'm sorry.
You get too late to start.
Well, you know, I had to hear some of the stuff that Judd said today, you know, that
He needs this much.
he what?
He needs this much.
Well, yeah,
A single sheet or?
but you know, he was very, you know,
Yeah, I'll give you the 582
I think he'll pass.
well, you know, and
too.
with this being his second term, if he's one of the
I want
big
you to
people
learn
that
how
make
to
some of the
use this
decisions.
drink, plus or minus.
Yeah.
Don't be jacking around.
Well, no,
Oh, really?
What I did,
I see
so
how,
everything fits in the budget.
I don't,
50,
Mike, did you get the sheet?
McDonald's, entrance.
I don't get into that
we
much.
need to do now. It's from
Oh,
there
yeah,
back.
sure,
Lot north.
We
yeah.
need to do it, but we need to know exactly
That would be good,
really
good,
what's
good.
gonna happen back there before we do it. So,
Tie up right there.
You on, Mario?
yeah, but I just,
No. No.
work anyway. So we'll just do the first.
Oh, I
now,
called
yeah.
that guy back.
Where you going now?
Demo on this new system for in here. And I told him, I said, you know, I
teach
talked
Mario?
to our IT guy, I talked to the mayor, and I said, at this time, they don't want one. I said, our IT guy said it's gonna be way more complicated than, he said, oh, no, 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 no. He said, it'll be so much simpler. And I'm like, yeah, right, okay.
Finger them up.
Everybody
But,
ready?
oh, okay.
Call this board works meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Member Donnie Bryant?
Present.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mario Todd?
Here.
Member Bill Bruner is absent, excuse me. Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here?
Utility Director Mel Davis.
Here.
Mayor Carr,
Here.
and myself.
Okay, we're going to, what the meeting's called for, projects. Let's start, Mike.
Yeah, what I've done is basically just turn the projects that I'm working on packages for now. I will have to come back, multiple times through the year to get other projects approved to go ahead and work on and bid out. This is the list that we're simultaneously working on, trying to get packages put together. This list here, do not take it that anything that was on the project list that's not on here is not being cut out. It's just, this is what I'm asking authorization to go ahead and bid out and do these projects in the first wave.
Board looked over it?
We have, and I think the
We have.
reason we called this meeting, this special meeting, was to get clarification. I don't see Jane with us tonight.
Well, you might as well get into that too. You just went back on the tape, you looked at tape.
We did, and I think it was Mike, I've got it queued up there. And I think I don't know if her bone of contention was the Tanner's Creek Drive project. Maybe Mike or Doug can enlighten us since Jane's not here. Do you know what her biggest objection? She said that we didn't cut projects out that she had asked to be cut out. And I don't know,
One that was cut out, though?
please?
That was one that was cut out.
No, you
No,
voted.
come on up to the podium. She said somebody never got voted on, get cut out. We compromised. Remember, it was 2 million, we went to 1.5 million.
Oh, yeah, I know it's $1.5 million as far as on the project, but I thought there was a discussion in that. I'm not gonna, if it's
It
on the
wasn't cut
table,
out.
what we done, then fine and dandy.
Can I cue it up real quick?
Go right ahead.
We can make a point. Watch it won't work now, Doug, that's just.
Since I'm around, it probably won't.
On which one? Tanner's Creek.
Is it going on now?
I have to have authorization to do it, Mike. I gotta have something.
You have no signal on the TVs, dear.
Mike, is that Jane that's pulled up out there behind you? Yeah.
Imagine that.
Wait a second then. And what we had done, it pulled up the minutes from from January 28th. I'll wait till she gets in, or at least we can hear the audio part of it.
I thought the discussion was on the Tanner Creek Drive, look at possibly doing some legwork on it toward the end of the year.
It was to go ahead and do the engineering and
Yeah, because Mike
Is this
did
the one, the
say
4-hour
that,
meeting we had?
if.
No, this is the
If we needed
28th.
to, then we could
this was
come
the
back
one
for
where we
additional
accepted the
appropriations.
MDF and
What I did was
the,
took
It was the
back
next Monday
2/3 of
after
that
the
off
4-hour
for
meeting.
for the initial project, just to get it from 50 to McDonald's. And that brought the whole thing, that along with every other item that was on the list, under budget. So we're able to accomplish all the projects.
Yeah, 'cause I thought it was something to the effect of,
Mike, you probably need to come talk to the microphone too. We got this on tape so nobody says later
I
on.
was thinking it was something to the effect of, towards the end of the year, if there's money left, could look at doing the engineering and stuff to prepare
Yeah,
for.
and there again, we looked at that, and if you look at that second sheet, which is line 582. And all we did was took from the McDonald's Kroger entrance to Intrapac out of the project for the initial installment on it, and that brought everything under budget, so we can accomplish all projects within budget, and we should not have to come back and ask for any additional.
So this is the page 2 is what your Board of Works is.
No, that, we're not voting on that whole list now. The only ones under street improvement projects is the top section on the front page is what I'm getting authorization on tonight, hopefully.
We're just asking the question then, as far as in the last council meeting, when you went down this whole list, that was the whole list of what we had been given
Yes.
for that, and that was like $11 million worth of projects.
No, the $11 million was redevelopment.
That was the original redevelopment.
Yeah. What was the amount on that?
It was a lot more.
It was 2
lot bigger list than this.
the initial was 2.47.
We have it, matter of
And
fact, we give the totals on the vote of this meeting.
We had
Well, I
cut
mean
it
the
down
initial
to
and the
2 million
full
before
power
the
meeting.
meeting
Oh,
because
That's
of,
got
some
all
of
the
your
projects on there, which is
requests.
enormous.
That I don't
And
know.
during
What
that
this
meeting,
was-
it went
was that,
from 2
on the
down to 1,
28th,
back up to
when we went line by
1.5.
line,
Everybody
and
said,
actually
yeah,
did
that's a
some cutting of
compromise we
the,
can all live with.
The,
So we
the
have
budget,
1.5
these were the numbers we
million.
added to the budget.
We reduced
all
the
those
back
projects.
2/3 of that
That was a
project,
wish
and
list, though.
that will
Then he
hold
broke it
off
down.
on,
Wish list, I'm just trying to find out which.
Yeah,
one.
but then he broke
To
it
the
further
front
down
part.
to
and
what we
everything
planned on
falls
doing this
within
year.
budget.
Well, here, I'll go ahead and play the,
Play the audio so we can,
Estimates, engineering estimates or anything on that project?
On which one?
Tanner's Creek.
I have to have authorization to do it, Mike. I gotta have something in a budget before so no, I don't have anything. I have
But I
have
mean-
some guesstimates just from open discussion.
How about cut it down to $1.5 million?
I got a question. I need,
Compromise at 1.5, drop 500,000, and I still am gonna say the same thing I did a year ago. If for some reason, gotta look at additional appropriation, that option is always open if necessary.
yeah, at least have the appropriation for design and engineering for an estimate.
That gets us started. We're gonna have to do something in that section.
Mayor, may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
We got in line item 450,
Yes, they were. They cut some things they didn't want to cut, but we made them.
This skipped this where the vote was made for that whole meeting.
Now, I need a vote to entertain a motion to accept as is, but we're gonna have to do a ordinance later on, next meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the MDF budget and the Riverboat budget as given, as the MDF being the $21,835,049, and the Riverboat budget being $20,299,365, for a grand total of the two budgets of $42,134,414.
Before we second, do we have to open the public hearing first? Well, I'm gonna have to do the audience.
Yeah, this motion, you don't essentially give people the instruction of what you're doing.
I'll second it. I'm opening up to public.
So was-
Say your second? Yeah. All in favor?
aye.
All against? Ayes have it.
And we will have the ordinance ready for the February 4th meeting to pass. Mr. Head. Mr. Humble.
So, you know, the Tanners Creek project was accepted, and Jamie, before you got here, I was asking, I didn't know which, you were specifying we didn't take some things out that were requested?
That's all I know is I've got the original, not the original, but one of the ordinance that we had.
James, you go to speak in the microphone.
I got the ordinance that we had discussed that night. Did you say for a total of $42,134,414? Was that the total
I believe so.
that just was on that video? Okay, under unfinished projects, and I don't know if you included these in what your list was.
No, the unfinished, Jane, are already approved and under contract. Some of them have actually been started, some of them are close to done, some of them haven't been started, but those are all under 459, because they're already currently under contract.
Okay, I can agree with that, because under unfinished projects, we did approve them all, except for the county demo, because it was brought up that there was 119,000 or given from 10 county grant. So I can agree with the unfinished projects section of it. Going down to line item 583, which is parks. The only parks projects that we approved, and they lumped them together on our final vote thing, when Leslie said she'd redo it, was the Boy Scout cabin and park project. And that's under, it's a 284, it's a 583. And the fairgrounds restrooms, and the fairgrounds storage building.
But there was 500,000.
On the whole list of projects, the only one that was actually cut out, we actually cut one out, and then we added one to that list. We cut out the curb project up at Ludlow Hill Park, and we immediately inserted new project, the basketball project down at the George Street Park. Other than that one change, the whole list went through.
Not according to what we got here, because this is what Leslie gave back to me. And under line item 583, and
I think what happened, I believe either Reedy or Umball, one of the two, because we cut the total in that 28th meeting to $500,000, or before that meeting, we cut it to $500,000. We did not cut projects, we cut the total of that, because we also know, we're all aware that we have line item 488, which is the Parks Maintenance Fund, that we have $1 million, and it was my understanding that
Well, Jane in that tape, because we reviewed the tape today and yesterday both, there's a comment made in there that you had made that we can fall back on the $1 million. While Mr. Reedy was at the podium discussing 583.
And I think what happened, one of the two accounting firms, they outthought themselves. They tried to go through the parks project list and find 3 or 4, whatever it took, to add up to the 500,000.
no, I don't think they went look through to find. I think that's what we agreed to.
No, there
Because it's
was
specifically on this paper that Leslie gave out to us. Yeah, right here.
I think that was a paper though. Leslie, didn't Umball send that to you?
Yes, that was the
And I
ordinance.
believe that's
That
what
was
happened. I think they
the
went
actual
through there.
ordinance.
You can listen at the tapes for the 17th. You can listen to them on the 28th. We did not go through and cut projects. In fact, you guys were in favor from, watching the meeting tapes of doing all the parks projects.
Yeah, this, yeah,
That 4-hour meeting.
Umball.
Yeah.
Umball forwarded this to me, and
And
I
I-
made changes as
I
far as
think
making
what
it,
happened,
but
the
Umball,
confusion
this is
was
Umball's
when we
part.
cut the money
This is
back,
what Paige
And
prepared.
apparently, if it came from Leslie, she got it from Umball. They must try
Those
to
were ones
add
that were
up whatever
under
projects
583.
added up to the 500,000. And that's the only thing they put down, but that wasn't the case. I mean, you guys never agreed to only those projects. I mean, I thought you were in favor of,
That was the 4-hour meeting you're
Yeah,
talking about,
of all
going
the
through there, and that
parks
was
projects.
basically trying to get the budget together and such there. And then when we got other information together to show how much we were gonna be over budget, that's when
Then we cut
started
down.
cutting back on the thing.
But
I mean,
then
we
we-
were the
Cut by
first
half.
meeting,
Yeah.
not, being first time going through it and everything, not knowing that we're gonna be
I mean,
millions of dollars over
I
budget.
can cut the parks projects out, but I didn't think you wanted to do that. I mean, with the 500,000 in the parks project line and the 1 million in the parks maintenance, we'll have an excess, because that's 1.5, and every one of these projects totaled somewhere around 900,000. I mean,
Okay,
we're-
well, on the, with what Mario had played here as far as with the video and everything like this, I've looked tons of papers, like you guys look all tons of papers as well. I was thinking that the 1.5 was still there, but it's down to 500,000.
Well, it's 500 plus, you got the, Jane, what line was the parks fund?
That's the one we
No.
got. 2 million,
583.
Hold it, hold it,
You
you're
guys
talking about
agreed
two
to cut
different
the million
things.
and a half
down to
Doug's talking
500,000.
about 500,000 in
Actual
Tanner's Creek.
500,000.
Oh,
That was
Yeah.
design work, I think.
Yeah, he's talking 500,000 in Tanner Creek,
That's
Jane's
what's on
talking
here.
583.
there was
That was
never,
design
there was
work.
never a dollar amount for design work on it.
Right.
Well, just on the list here, it's 500,000 for US 50 to Kroger's entrance.
That's what my estimate is to do the project, just that front piece only. I was able to do the whole thing, it would have been about 1.5, but just the front piece, I lost $1 million right off the bat. And
So how much money is there as far as in total projects in the budget?
for which projects?
All of them. The budgeted amount of money that's been given to do the projects.
Okay, which ones, Doug? You
All
gotta
of
tell
them.
me which line.
The total amount that's in our budget, MDF Riverboat, that's there to do whatever project there is.
It's what you voted on that night. That's.
But it's
the
not
total.
enough to cover all these other projects, is what I'm getting at.
Yes, it is.
That's, you went by line item on the projects, like Parks,
That's the ones
583.
that's the budget, the total was bundled.
Yeah, but like 583, like what Jane's talking about, that was that number, 500,000. So 582, 500,000. So you move to the next one of Parks, that's what you voted on. That's what Mike put to his project list in a dollar amount.
So what you're saying is everything on here, the dollar amount is covered as far as in the budget.
Yes.
Correct.
But but what was confusing in the meeting Tuesday night is you went down the list that we had.
And
It was
you're
4
right.
hours in marathon, and Jane
you're
came
right,
unglued,
Doug.
and then I listened to it in the park there, and there was no way there was enough money in that budget
You're
to cover all
right,
this.
and I thought I stated that at the very beginning of my presentation, that realizing we do not have the money nor the time.
Well, the time, yeah, there's no way you're gonna get
I
all
mean,
the
no,
projects done.
it's not possible.
And that's
It's not possible to get all these projects done in this year's
And that's why
time.
they prepared this for tonight's
yeah.
meeting, was to cut it down to ones they knew
Mm-hmm.
were gonna have, were gonna start, or, maybe even complete. I mean, the dog park sign, we could probably complete in
Look at that.
2013. But, there are ones that can either start or be completed in 2013. So that's why they cut it down.
list that I don't have then?
Here's the list here.
Yeah, Jane, here's one, here's another one for you.
But that's what started the confusion, was when you went down that list, I mean, that was the list that we went through.
Well, and just like tonight, I also want you to know too, if you guys were wanting certain projects that are not on this sheet right here, don't think that there's any projects being cut. That is not the case. It's just,
Priority.
this is what I'm working on right now. And as soon as I get these done and bid out, I'm gonna have to come back in front of the Board of Works, and I'll have another sheet saying, hey, am I authorized to go ahead and work on these and bid these projects out? And hopefully I'll do that about 2 more times, and we can at least get as much done as possible with what we have left in the year.
Not to say that if we go over on a project, we're gonna have to go back in front of council for additional appropriations.
Right.
I mean, you've said it, Jane said it, Mike said it. Our job's to try not to go over them.
Right. But that, I mean, just on my part here is when you went down the whole list on the part, that's when I was just going,
Well, and there again, I tried to make that clear that I wasn't gonna be able to get them all. What I was
Well, and
trying
I
to
can
do,
understand that, but-
Doug, internally, I was trying to save time so I didn't have to get on an agenda, wait for a meeting to, I wanted to go ahead and say, okay, just to go ahead and give me authorization on these, and per the administration's direction is which ones, what order I'll work on stuff and get as many done as possible. But because of the confusion, that's why I went to, this is my first request.
I remember you were stating all that there in the urgency to get these projects going.
Yeah.
So the total budget is 1.5 and the total and the estimated cost is
That's under
1.470.
1.5 is the budgeted amount for the street improvements, and the projects,
Oh, okay.
and the estimated cost of all the projects is 1.47, I believe.
Yeah, 470.
Yeah,
That's for street improvements.
right.
I agree with you on that one.
And that's not cut, the only thing that's getting cut out is the south two-thirds of the turning lane project, and that's not the critical part of it yet because the area is not developed yet.
Any more questions?
I'm gonna go back to parks.
Let's move this along.
The Boy Scout cabin's not even under parks.
Yes,
Is
it
it?
is.
Well, it's a
Oh,
parks
okay.
project, but that's one we were gonna go ahead and take out of the line number 488, the Parks Maintenance Fund.
So that's where it's coming out of?
Yes.
Riverboat?
Yep.
488.
Okay, then what we approved, the top of your list should be the Boy Scout cabin and park project. The second one should be the fairgrounds restrooms. The third one should be the fairground storage building. In that order, because that's what we decided for that line item, 583.
These aren't in any particular order.
That's not the order.
Well, it's what's on here, Mayor. It's
It's
what,
not,
it's
it's
what we,
a guideline, Gene.
This sheet
You
here.
don't pick when these projects get done, the Board of Works does. You do a budget.
You do the budget.
You do the
yeah, and
budget,
we
and after
did
that
a
it goes to the
budget
Board
to
of Works.
cover these three projects that we thought was gonna get done.
They're gonna get done.
Mike,
And-
am I correct to say these are not in any,
They're not.
Priority
On
order.
this list, no.
yes.
They're just on the list.
Yeah.
These, I'm actually working on packages. I haven't started every one of them, but most of them already.
Just like the Boy Scout cabin, right now, it's in design and engineering.
It's all been put. We're gonna put it to vote. I'm not doing this all night. You got anything else, get the point on?
Yes.
We're not gonna drag this out all night. Get to the point what you want.
Okay. So under line item 583, Parks Improvement, we've got $500,000. $500,000, right?
Right.
And those were the projects we listed for 583 for that 500,000 to be used for.
You got a copy of the,
Can we agree to that?
got a copy of
Not only those three, no.
That's what we
And there
chose.
again, Jim,
That's what we brought it down. And
We've got
I knew.
$500,000 in the 583.
I
and we
knew
have
the minute
$1
you
million
lumped
in
these sums
488.
together, we would have this problem. But I said to myself, let's just wait and see how they handle it.
I will completely agree with Jane. Those was the three projects that we did say would be done.
They're gonna be
Under
done.
parks, was just those three. And then even Gus's dog park sign did come up, and I said, I'm sure there'll be a couple $1,000s left that we could get that sign taken care of. I remember that.
So can we agree on that, that those three projects we agreed upon for the $500,000?
And there again, the only thing, that
This
was a
whole thing has
document
been
that-
budgeted.
that one of the accountants brought down, that didn't come from us or the Board of Works.
It went through Leslie, and Leslie accepted it as is, and this is what we looked at, and this is what we took as what was gonna be.
let me see a copy of
This
that.
copy of this? That's all I have. I don't have that copy.
That's the one we worked off that night, because that's the one I made my notes on.
Are there certain parks projects that you guys don't want done that were on that list?
Is there, where's the, do you have a copy of the
The,
actual
what was,
budget?
the original, oh, yeah, there's those.
This
I
one?
brought those.
And you look under 583 and it's for
500,000.
For
Well-
doing those 3 projects under park.
Well, we
Never
also,
talked about doing the Boy Scout cabin, how, the $1 million.
it was mentioned though that for other parks projects, we have the million underlying 488, the parks maintenance, to be able to mix and match and get as many
Which
of
is
them.
488, right. Parks Maintenance Fund is $1 million.
488.
And then 583 Parks Improvements, what was passed was 500,000. Street improvements were 1.5.
So Mike's what you're saying,
88
I mean, if you'd
compliance,
rather us
80,000.
switch around and do certain ones out of 488 and certain ones out of
well, it was set here
453,
for,
it doesn't really matter.
those 3
but-
projects were set for 583, for 500,000, which we will have a little bit left, because I think they only total up to 450,000.
I guess the question is, do you guys want the parks projects done or not? We can do it, we have the money budgeted to do them. And there again, I thought you guys were in favor of the parks projects.
And the $1 million you're saying is what we'll use to finish the
The
projects?
combination of the two, yes.
Is Parks Maintenance Fund, and that's what they were going to take the Boy Scout cabin and park project out of. That was approved at $1 million, which is on this form here.
Okay, and as I look at it, 1.5 million is not gonna cover it, right? Or will it cover it all?
Yeah, 'cause it's-
Oh, yeah.
Every project listed was somewhere around 950,000. There again, there's no way we're gonna get to them all this year, but there's actually money in there to do them. We're just not gonna have the time to.
And then 588 ADA compliance was 80,000. 47.
You took off George Street and you mentioned it last night.
No, it's not
No, it's in
off.
there.
Where's
Jane,
it, where's it
it's
on
not,
there?
it's just not on the very first go-round.
No, this is the one I got tonight.
Yeah, this is only what I'm wanting to bid right now. There are
round
no
one.
projects being cut out whatsoever, and I know you got here a few minutes late. I think I said that to start the meeting, that just because it's not on this first submittal does not mean that it's been cut. We are not cutting anything. We're just gonna work on a prioritized list and get as much done as we possibly can.
And this money has been budgeted for this list.
Yes.
Okay, but Jane, you got any more?
I went through and I checked everything. I didn't know we was gonna fall back on the $1 million from the parks, maintenance fund. But I do think that out of the the 583, we should use 583 for the 3 projects we chose, which is the Boy Scout cabin and park project, which is the fairgrounds restrooms and the fairgrounds storage building.
Mayor, we can do that. I
We
mean,
can
all
do
it
that.
is which
It's not
number
enough,
we
is it?
assign it
That
to.
is.
That's not a big
Only
deal.
500,000,
We can do it.
Yeah, but that's all that's, that's all that was budgeted, okay.
So if you can use 583 for those 3 projects,
Thank you.
Mike, that's not enough, is it?
Wherever our shortcomings
It's-
is, we'll
it's
have to
it's a
go
little
to
bit over.
488 because
488,
that's
that's
what we always use for both maintenance and capital improvement projects.
No, we don't cut it short on maintenance now, because we got
No, it-
funds that comes out of that.
No, it shouldn't.
You're right.
What you gotta think
be.
about
We
is
should
the
be okay.
time too. I mean, time's flying by.
Guys, we still got quite a bit left this year to do.
Done if we don't move
well, it's
forward.
all I'm asking is that they pull money from that line item, 583, which was originally assigned for those 3 line items.
Do you have any problem with
Those three line items is $500,000.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, problem with that?
And that's what
And
happened.
if you
That's what I'm
actually add
saying.
them, has anybody
Humboldt
got,
added some up to quantify the 500,000.
yeah, there's
With the
enough to
cut
take
that we
care of.
made,
Maintenance fund has a lot of that.
500,000.
we turned it
the
in, we
cabin's
cut
only
money,
275.
we didn't necessarily cut any projects. We
Yes,
cut a
ma'am.
dollar
And
amount
then the
down to make the
175
budget
and the
work.
50 and the 275, that makes 500,000.
We really hadn't cut
for those three
projects. I think Humboldt must have on their own tried to quantify that 500,000, and they put those subcategories in. That's not something we prioritized or
Can I
done,
ask
but
Jan a question, though?
Go ahead.
If we have an overrun on those 3 projects, can we go use the overrun out of 488? Would you see any problem with that?
no, has anybody got a calculator in front of them?
What do you figure?
I want to total up those three. I think it comes.
500,000.
Those three are
Yeah.
500,000.
That's why I say if there's an overrun, we'll need to
Because
get,
it's 275, 175, and 50.
correct.
Okay, can we agree to take those three out of that line item?
Oh, Torp doesn't have any problem with it. You have any problem with it?
Did you respond to Mario's?
Mario, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're right at 500,000, hopefully we bring it under. But if we go over, you have no
Have to come back and
problem.
get more money.
Well, we could take it out 488, parks maintenance.
Could. And the total of the rest of the projects and parks projects is 169,000.
now that's only this first submit.
Right. But what I'm saying is the ones you have listed are only 169 as far as Park and Ride, Gus's, the pool, right left landing sign, Todd Creech Memorial Project, additional parking, and fairground fill. Those are 169.
Do you look for those projects to run over that 500,000 mark?
No, we should be pretty good on that. I feel comfortable.
Where's the additional parking going on in the hill? Considered.
Actually, as soon as you come in, you know how you go through the entrance, you turn to the left and you start that first right. As soon as you start that curve down to wherever the grade gets too steep, next to the pond, we're just gonna
these?
have
Okay.
90-degree parking there. And then once you go past the ball field, well, right at the loop, you know how we have the parking beyond the loop on the left? We're gonna take that and bring the parking back up towards the ball field, and we'll get a considerable amount of spaces in those two areas.
Let's look at them again.
Now we're good?
Yes, on the parks. I'm okay with parks.
And you're gonna go through every line item on this, let's start this up.
I'm gonna get myself where I'm in total understanding of what's happening.
This money has been budgeted, you know. It's been voted on.
On the miscellaneous projects, all of those have been appropriated. Stormwater, 575 has been appropriated, and the total cost at this point is only 300,000. The ADA compliance, they're only doing so much of those as 42.5, and budget amount's 80.
Well, let's start at street improvement projects. Total estimated cost, $785,000. You've only got budgeted $663,400.
No, there's 1.5 million, Jane.
In street improvements?
Yes.
Yes.
1.5.
What line
Number
item number is that?
582.
582?
Here, you guys want, you can look at those.
582, street point is 1.5.
Okay. The ADA, I think that's correct. What line item number is that? Does anybody know if the,
588.
and see there again, under 588, it covers the Pat O'Neill Pool, parking and pool accessible, Tate Street sidewalk compliance, and downtown sidewalk compliance.
Well, those are just ADA issue items.
Yeah, we haven't got to those yet. I'm not working on those projects yet. That's why it's not totaling $80,000, because I'm only working on about half of them right now.
But those are the ones we agreed to.
We agreed
Those
to
are the
all
ones
of
we
them.
said we wanted to get done.
Jane, we agreed to all the,
We're going over everything we did for in the meetings. It's all been agreed to, and you just voted on it to pass it for a budget.
Oh, man. I'm just showing you what was handed to me that we agreed upon.
You voted on the ordinance.
These. But once they got lumped together, we no longer are getting what we voted on. We're getting what he wants to do.
That's the projects the city wants to do, not only him.
But we did agree to this. It's right here in black and white that those were the projects that we wanted to get done. So out of
But they will get done.
588, those three should be the top priority.
That's up to the Board of Works. A budget goes to the Board of Works and department heads, and they go up to that. That ain't up to you. Your job is to appropriate money.
But Jane, for the pool compliance, I mean, those things that get done.
A priority.
honestly, there's a lot of the projects I've got on here are the quickest and the easiest to try to get it knocked out and out of the way.
Well, I mean, Mike, you will not come back for the pool. We'll use that for an example. We'll go out and get quote for like an entryway, correct, Carl, from a pool supplier. We'll go get 3 quotes on those, and that'll fulfill that.
Then you
that
gotta come
need.
back to the board and get it quick approved.
They'll approve the bid, that this is allowing the pools on this list. You're allowing us to go ahead and get quotes and bids on it, and then we bring it back to the Board of Works.
Right.
Correct.
This money's been on the budget, we're gonna vote on. I'm not going all night with this. Jane, you got,
I'm on that ADA still.
we're gonna hurry this up, and we're gonna be here all night on this. This money is budget, we're gonna vote on it shortly.
What line item is that ADA?
588.
You need to look off the actual thing that you passed.
I know.
The worksheet we went over. That was just a worksheet we went over to our
You're
4-hour
correct,
meeting.
Leslie, it was a worksheet we went over, but when the actual budget was passed and you lumped them together, I knew in my mind right then and there that you was gonna do whatever you wanted to do. You wasn't
Because the
gonna.
Board of Works has
You
the-
wasn't gonna do the
Board of
specific
Works
ones
has the
that we
custody and
agreed upon.
maintains all real estate and personal property of
Well,
the
then
city.
next year, can we do each individual project and give them a line item?
That doesn't
Can I
make
ask
any sense
a
when
question?
you're just looking at estimates. I
So
mean,
what, I'm taking what you're saying, the council cannot, or does not budget the money for the projects that they think should be done.
no, you
Okay,
budget,
because
you
I
budget,
disagree with you.
you budget for the projects that were presented to you. And the budget was
And
passed.
if you don't want to do those projects, you don't budget the money.
But it's not the council's decision on what projects happen.
We agreed on line items, but then you wanted to lump them together. And like I said, I'm not here to argue because next budget, just remember, break it down line item by line item. We see how the games are played and
There's no games
There's no
played,
games being
Mike.
played.
There's no games played.
But-
The Board of Works has,
you have your opinion
these
and I
are,
have
these
my
are
opinion.
all, these, and that's not your opinion, is
You're not
it?
gonna
That's
micromanage
my
the Board of Works what
opinion.
you're trying to do.
Your opinion?
You're not gonna
My
do it.
opinion
You're not gonna
is,
get it done.
yes, you don't take in consideration of what we believe the money should be used and budgeted for, what we agreed to.
Okay, and
That's my
originally, when
opinion.
you weren't here, Mr. Lawrence, that all of these projects, especially the list we had the other night, was approved by your cohorts here.
Hold on. No.
Yes, it was.
There was one vote on
And
an
we had
ordinance.
a special meeting that you chose not to attend.
Ma'am, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Well, I know
I'm
you're not
gonna
arguing with
vote-
me because I know that's what happened. I was here.
I wasn't here for that 4-hour meeting.
You're right.
You're right.
And
Well-
we voted on
Oh,
this
and while I'm
first.
up here, I asked you last week, I'm just gonna ask this since I'm up here at this time, for a phone number, you would get it right to me. I'm still waiting, never did get it from you, but
And
Jackie was
what phone
nice
number
enough
is
to get
that,
it to me.
Mr. Lawrence?
For the FBI agent, thank you.
You got the phone number from from the clerk's office.
Yes, I said Jackie was.
I gave it to him.
Well, that was 2 hours after that, I talked to her and she said you had gotten the,
Man, I talked to you at the meeting that night.
I understand that.
I got it from her on a different day.
Okay. You got it the very next day from her, and she told me that you already got the number, so therefore I did not give you the number
Here to argue with you.
Okay.
at this point.
Jane, let's hurry
Okay,
up.
so
I'm
my-
putting this to a vote. Hurry up, what you got?
I just want to understand that next year when we make a budget, regardless of what we decide should be priority, you guys, the amount of money we put out there, you'll use it however you want to use it.
You had a project list.
Right, and we agreed upon these items. I mean, that's right here, Mayor, we agreed. This is what we worked off of, and they totaled them up, and the amounts equaled the amount that went into the final budgets, Riverboat and MDF, and I assumed that they would be spent accordingly the way we wanted them to be spent. But I knew the
You
minute
don't
I
have
seen them.
that say, Jane. That's Board of Works.
Under the
Exactly.
statute, the Borks Board has, and I'll read from
So
30.
it didn't do us any good to do that work session and make a decision on what should be done, what shouldn't be done, what should be
No,
spent, what
because
shouldn't be spent.
what the amounts that you appropriated were for those projects, Jane. The amounts that you appropriated were for those projects that they present. They didn't have to present you project numbers. They didn't have to, because the Board of Works, under the statute, under 36963, the Works Board has custody of and may maintain all real and personal property of the city. The City Works Board may design, order, contract for, and execute all work required to improve or repair any real or personal property belongs to or is used by the city. It is subject to your appropriation. And as a courtesy, they gave you the projects so you can look and see what they were
And we
wanting
chose
to
which
do.
ones we wanted, but now we're telling we have to go whatever Mr. Clark wants.
No, not necessarily, because
There
what you
again,
chose
I
are-
did not choose these projects.
There-
This was the entire administrative staff. I mean, I don't have that much clout. I wish I did,
But even saying that, Jane, your projects are in here. Like under parks, your projects are in here. Under ADA, they're in here.
I mean, that's what the whole city government,
I know when I look at invoices, if I see anything that comes out of 583, other than Boy Scout Fairgrounds restrooms or Fairgrounds storage building, I will deny. Because that's what we agreed to come out of 583. And I think we'll have a little bit left. I don't think we'll use it all. And then the other parks projects come out of the, I guess, the $1 million, the
488.
48. Because when I went through invoices last time, there were line items that were used on invoices that don't even exist anymore. And they had to make several corrections based on what I had by this is the final thing we voted on. This one here. But when we voted on it, the final one we voted on,
Is that
everything
Riverboat?
got lumped.
That's Riverboat you have there?
I got
Ordinance
Riverboat and MDF, the actual copy of the original.
two? Okay.
and everyone that I've talked to, including Ice Miller, including Umball, including Reedy, agreed that every single, as far as projects go, should be lumped. You should not limit them, because then every time a project goes over, you have to come back and get more money appropriated for each project. I mean, they understand that these are just estimates, and that's what I brought to you guys at the time of the budget meeting.
Well, my understanding was the ones we chose would be top priority and we get them first.
You just doing it wrong.
I don't know.
Just into
next
one
time.
thing there, Les, that's what's been the issue is when the project is put in for a certain amount of money and then it goes over. I mean, if it's a set here where you know that it's a possibility it's gonna go over, a contractor is gonna go over, versus if you've got it set out here to say, this is what it's gonna be, keep it under the budget, because you may not get the money as far, or we'll have to cut it out short and such. but versus coming back and having change orders for hundreds of thousands of dollars more for a project that was supposed to have been for $500,000, now it's for $750,000. And that's what.
And I understand that, I do
Yeah.
understand that.
And then the other thing,
At the beginning of the year, nobody knows.
well,
No,
I
mean,
understand, as far as the estimates
I mean,
and such.
especially, and that's why they pared this down, what you have in front of you today compared to what was
Right.
presented to you at the council meeting.
Just being accountable is basically what it comes down to. And as far as the 4-hour meeting, of which Mike didn't make because of going with his kids and such, just like Bill's not making this meeting here today because of going with the kids, and that's a good thing as far as with your family. That list that we had after that 4-hour marathon meeting changed a heck of a lot
Yes.
from that date to
did.
when we voted on it. So, I mean, when we walked out here with that
The
list, there was
dollar
things
amount
that.
changed, not necessarily the list, but the dollar
Well,
amount.
the dollar- that's what I'm
to
saying,
bring-
the
to
dollar
bring the
amount-
dollars down.
Changed dramatically.
And that was where Umbaugh and Reedy came in.
And that was a good thing,
And
because
they
it's a
cut 'em-
balanced
They cut
budget.
everything in half. Everything was cut in half.
Right.
But the project, like he said, the projects weren't cut. It was just that the money that we were going to go towards those projects were cut. That was my understanding.
Wasn't my understanding.
All right.
Well, just one thing here, if the projects, if the money is there, and if it's a big amount of money that's gonna cover all these projects, and no projects are cut, something's gotta be cut, because if there's not enough money to cover all these projects, then they're not gonna be able to get done.
The power won't get done anyway.
Well,
All of them
not
were
this year, not
Yeah, all of
all.
them, all of them weren't from this year.
Right, and I understand that. I mean, it's just as far as getting the line item up. But I mean, my thing here is that 4-hour marathon meeting was, a lot of changes went from that point to where it got to the final point. I mean, it was over a week's time, or in that time period there anyway. But it was a thing here to where there was multiple changes that was done. And I believe it was done in a good manner because it's a balanced budget. And that, that's all I
All
got
right, we're
there.
not arguing that. I'm gonna put this thing to vote. We went far enough.
I just got one more thing.
Hurry up, Gene, you got 2 minutes, it's going to a vote.
Yesterday on Parks Projects, you did mention George Street water problem, and you did mention George Street basketball court.
Yes.
Why is it not on here? On your
First off, the LCD, I talked to the LCD about that.
Today too.
They have some concerns. Number one, first thing they have to do is figure out where they're gonna locate their new, remedial flood pump station. And they're currently bidding out work right now for their additional relief well testing. And the results from that is gonna give them more information. And we have to have that information and work along with them before we can do those improvements.
Mr. Seymour told me today, said he don't know if they got enough room to do it.
I mean, that
So
whole
he's
area
checking
is a
me, so
ponding
not
area,
too
but
sure. I'm not
they've
against
got to
the-
get the results first
Basketball
before
program.
they can tell us whether they can support that project or not.
Okay, so that's something you'll be working on behind the scenes, and if you get the information to us, and we're all in agreement, can we follow through with the George Street project?
Yeah, it's,
We just have to
it's still
appropriate
on the
more
list,
money.
They
yes.
gotta make sure they own the land. They got enough land, is what he told me today. They wasn't too sure about some of the property lines.
Well, it's
the
property,
drainage- the
the whole
drainage.
thing is in a ponding easement. The whole park is in that ponding easement.
There's one or two
We've
houses
already
built on some
filled
of the land,
part
too.
of it to do the improvements, up to date. They've got to get all their test results back and determine one of 3 different locations they're looking at for a new pump station, and see what kind of an effect that's going to have on messing with their ponding easement.
And when we cut the parks and building and maintenance funds from 5 million down to 1 million, I thought we were gonna take that 4 million that we cut and put it in a non-reverting fund for both of those accounts.
It has to be voted on to do that.
Well, we couldn't
I
do
talked to
that
Umbaugh
this
about
year
that.
and get the budget down
Can
to
we
where
do that?
everybody
He said,
needed.
yeah, it's just a matter of moving money from here to where we want it.
We gotta do an ordinance on it though. Make a non-reverting fund for it.
Because that was our goal, to have a non-reverting
There are
fund.
non-reverting funds set up already.
Right, and Parks does have one, right? Does
Yeah. They
building,
have an in our parks, yes.
building maintenance monuments, do they have one too?
Yeah, there's
I'm not
actually.
positive without looking.
I looked at the list the
Dan
other day.
said
there's several.
Yeah, there
that
could
each one
be.
of
I'd have
those
to-
two had a non-reverting fund that currently had $2 million in each one of them. Now, the only thing is, we can't touch that money at this point because we didn't include that in the budget
Right, and we don't want you to.
Therefore, it's not appropriated.
Right.
So, each one has 2 million in there. Anything left over in 488 this year, I assume at the end of the year, then at least will be transferred into those non-reverting funds.
But you need to do that in the way of a resolution for
Right.
appropriation to be moved.
All right, now we're gonna move on. Everybody looked at the budget. Any more questions of the board? I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Ayes have it. Any more?
So you're just talking about this front page, Mike Clark? Just this
Correct.
front page? Okay.
Correct.
I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, the front page
I'm clear.
is what you guys just authorized me to go ahead
Okay.
and bid out.
Okay, any more
Okay.
come from the board? Entertain a motion for adjournment.
I mean,
Can I make an announcement?
Come on up.
I was asked to make an announcement. I was contacted Wednesday by FBI agent Neil Freeman. He wanted me to make an announcement at a public meeting. He will be in town February the 26th, which is Tuesday. Would encourage anybody that has any information or would like to talk to him to contact him, and he'll be happy to meet with him on Tuesday. His number is 765
Hold on a second, Mike.
Yeah.
765
282
282.
1905.
And when is that? I missed it.
Tuesday.
This Tuesday?
26th. Yeah.
What's that
And where at?
reference
What-
to?
the leftover stuff that
Yeah,
wasn't ready when he
he-
was here the last time on, that,
And he'll meet with anybody that wants to meet with him.
He wants to know where the meeting's at.
282.
You
It's
got
not
to
a-
contact.
1905.
you gotta
we gotta
contact
contact
him.
him.
It's not a meeting per se,
Okay.
Aaron.
Yeah, if you want to
Okay.
meet with him, call him and he'll set
Okay.
up a meeting.
What's his name? I'm sorry.
Neil Freeman and Aaron,
EAL.
he's gonna have to come to my office, so if you want to tell him you can meet him there, that's up to you. That's fine with me.
Coming and pick up the rest of the
Yeah.
subpoena.
Well, I hope he doesn't bring a box truck.
No, brought a box
Okay.
truck.
Any more? Entertain a motion adjournment.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
Okay, I've got this.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, I need these. Okay. Hey,
No.
Les,
I told Debbie, she wanted me to pick me up after basketball. I said, I can't. Don't worry about Friday night.
She called you on it.
Yeah, I do.
Leslie, do we need to call Mr. Freeman and tell him to stop at my office? And pick it
I'm
up?
sure he knows. But I'll call him.
Whatever, hon, that's fine.
The other part, like,